Next Ag Appraisal and Realty with locations in Lincoln and now Pender, Nebraska.
Have you been accused of a crime? Is your freedom at stake? At Liberty Law Group, we are committed to the defense of liberty for those accused. Facing criminal charges is stressful, overwhelming, and full of uncertainty. At Liberty Law Group, we believe in treating every person with respect, compassion, and understanding. When legal troubles are keeping you up at night, trust Liberty Law Group to fight your battles. To learn more, call 877-42-LIBERTY. That's 877-42-LIBERTY.
When we're looking out for a homeowner, we're always keeping their budget in mind. We try to maximize things that are important to them.
Bob Benish is the founder and president of Aspen Builders, online at aspenbuildersinc.com.
So we really try to maximize the size because 5 years from now, you can't just make your house bigger. The one thing I can tell you is that most builders in Lincoln, we all are about the same price. The difference comes in the products that we put in and the way we put in those products. The old saying, you get what you pay for, is pretty accurate when you're building a home. If you put nicer windows in and you put nicer cabinets, it's going to cost a little bit more. You know, if those things are important to you, then you want to do it. We can try to incorporate in your floor plan and get a house that you're going to be happy with.
Make your dream home a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
Tune in every Wednesday night from 9 to 10 p.m. for the Malone Radio Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Don't miss the opportunity to learn about the Malone Community Center's goal to eliminate multi-generational poverty in Lincoln and the surrounding area. It's the Malone Radio Show with Executive Director John Goodwin and Sports Director Mike Hunter. Every Wednesday night from 9 to 10 p.m. on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are you looking to get into the electrical construction industry or wanting a new scene? The Electrical Workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service, bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. It doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
The postseason is here in the Pro Volleyball Federation. The Atlanta Vibe enters the 1 seed, and they'll face off against the 4th-seeded Grand Rapids Rise, followed by the 2-seed Omaha Supernovas versus the 3rd-seeded San Diego Mojo. Both matches on Wednesday, May 15th. The Mullen Motors pregame show with Derek Pearson and Renee Saunders starts at 5 p.m. with first serve at 6 for Game 1, with the second match to start around 8:30 p.m. Make sure to tune in for the next Ag Appraisal and Realty postgame show right after the match ends. Catch all the action on your flagship station, 93.7 The Ticket, and statewide on the Pro Volleyball Federation Radio Network.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Old School, sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Broadcasting veteran Derek Pearson.
When you find something that moves them, that makes them smile, celebrate it. That's your task. That's your superpower.
Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score!
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome in. This is Old School on 93.7 The Ticket. If you're listening on your radio dial, appreciate that. 93.7 at theticketfm.com. Online if you're sitting in your cubicle at work here on a hump day. Or if you're on mobile, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, up and rolling for you, wherever you are in the world, as well as our free 93.7 The Ticket app, which I believe now has video capability. And then Allo Channel 961 if you're sitting at home. Thanks for firing us up. Drop a line here on our text line, 402-464-5685. Let me know how it is you're listening to the show. And here's the thing, guys. We only got 49 minutes and counting till we get you out to the CHI Health Center in Omaha for volleyball tonight. If there's something on your mind that you haven't heard talked about over these last few days, as Nick Sainert and I have been out calling some state baseball, let me know. What's in the news that you haven't heard a take on? Give me what you want to hear. We'll get to it over the course of the next 49 minutes. You can do that via a text on the Sartor Heyman text line, 402-464-5685. Or if you're watching on stream, drop a comment wherever it is you're watching. It'll pop up. I'll see it and we'll get to it. Old School, of course, brought to you by our great friends at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Guys, they've got 2 Lincoln locations now. The first one at 84th and Havelock, the other down at 30th and Yankee Hill. And hey, that's a good spot. We will be out with a remote broadcast at Scissors and Scotch down there by this Mercado location. So hey, here's what you do. You go in, you get your haircut, you get your beard trim, you have a sip of something at Scissors and Scotch, say hi to us while you're down there. And then before you leave, it's going to be a perfect day. We're manifesting it. You grab some meat from the Mercado at 30th and Yankee Hill. You go home looking good. You go home feeling good. You go home and you eat good. Fire up your grill, cook some of the meat from the Mercado. And hey, Omaha friends, you're not left out either. There's a location for y'all up at 168th and Maple. Middle of the 4th inning in Seattle. Kansas City Royals trail the Seattle Mariners 1-0. Mariners loaded the bases, score a run on an error by Adam Frazier. He's in the starting lineup instead of Maikel Garcia today. Normally, we would be carrying this Royals day game, even though it is out on the West Coast. The reason we're not, of course, being the Pro Volleyball Federation semifinals and finals tonight. Kicks off with Atlanta and Grand Rapids, first serve at 6. Pre-game coverage starts at 5. Supernovas will follow about half an hour after the conclusion of that Atlanta and Grand Rapids game. But yeah, the Royals trail 1-0 in the middle of the 4th inning. It's Alec Marsh on the bump for the Royals. Brian Wu, guy who I didn't know existed until today for Seattle. Only 1 hit through those first 4 times at the plate for the Royals. I'll keep you posted on that over the course of the next hour. Again, 402-464-5685. If there's anything on your mind that you want to talk about, whether it's been in the news, whether it's a thought you've had in your brain for a while, let me know. I'm flexible over these next 46 and a half minutes. Man, I just vanned for 2.5 minutes, killed 2.5 of the 49 minutes. Let's turn our attention to Big Ten football. The Athletic put out a piece just breaking down the quarterback rooms in the Big Ten. Of course, the expanded Big Ten. So we're just going to go through all of these schools alphabetically. That's the way they're listed on the Athletics article on the website. So if you're with me on the Athletic, have this list pulled up. If not, hey, that's why you're here listening on the radio, and I'll give it to you. First team listed alphabetically in the Big Ten, of course, is Illinois. 3 players returning in the quarterback room: Luke Altmaier, Donovan Leary, and Cal Swanson. Altmaier seems like the no doubt starter here, right? Started last year, 1,800 yards, 13 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Altmaier did have a concussion, so a quarterback that's now off the roster, started a few games, but as long as Luke Altmaier is healthy, he seems like the shoe-in starter at Illinois for Brett Bielema. On to Indiana. Only 1 quarterback returns, Taven Jackson. Played a little bit, not a whole lot last year. They lose Brock Lowry to Western Michigan, but most importantly for Indiana, they bring in Curtis Rourke. Maybe not the brother that his player was, but Curtis Rourke himself had a solid enough career up at Ohio. He transfers in for year 1 of the Kurt Cignetti era. Cignetti, of course, makes his way to Bloomington from Harrisonburg. He was the head coach of James Madison. Heck of a year for the Dukes. Got College Game Day out there, but Kurt Cignetti, excited to see what he's able to do for Indiana. Rourke, 5 seasons at Ohio. He was the 2022 MAC Offensive Player of the Year, 7,600 passing yards, 50 touchdown passes in his career. Let's take a pin in it. Go to the text line here. Jesse the Plumber says, allegedly some baseball cheating. So this year, coaches and catchers are using wireless headset communication. Apparently, one team had someone in the stands tuned into the same frequency, listening to pitch calls and relaying it to the hitters using whistles. The team that you mentioned here, Jesse, I don't want to throw them under the bus in case this is unfounded. Nick and I saw this team a couple times over the last handful of days. I made it through one full game with this team and another about half of the game. I can't verify what it is you're saying from the game that we saw at Tal Anderson Field that this team played in, because that press box was incredibly insulated, incredibly soundproof. That's why the broadcast might have sounded a little different yesterday. I hope you guys still appreciated the calls that Nick had all day. I joined him in the afternoon. It's just different without a crowd mic. We couldn't even open the windows, no ability. It's not like, Nick and I weren't trying to find a way to pipe some crowd noise in, tried a couple different chords. We just weren't able to get it. So I can't verify that there was someone, tapped into the radio frequency and whistling, right? So I can't confirm or deny that. I will say, though, if it's this team, didn't exactly light it up offensively. Still fooled by plenty of pitches. Approach wasn't perfect. Plenty of miscues. So if there was cheating going on, either they're not cheating well enough or it's just poor recognition, poor execution. The bigger issue to me is if there are fans that have figured out the radio frequency, because you're right, there is the wireless headset communication. We had a situation in a game last night where a catcher was frustrated that he dropped a ball on a tag that would have been an out at home plate. He slammed his helmet on the third baseline and had some trouble picking it up and putting it back together. A piece came loose, a piece got chipped. I think this would have been, there's another game where in the first inning, one of the catchers had some issues with the communication. I don't know if the battery went out. It wasn't fitting in his ear right. It was just static. Frequency was wrong. I don't know. It definitely hasn't been a perfect system here through, the first few handful of days of using the wireless communication. I do, generally speaking, like that Nebraska has adopted this. And this is something that Nick and I don't know if this conversation ever made it to air or if this was just between innings that we were talking about this. I don't know how many other states in high school baseball are using wireless headset communication, but the next thing I'm curious to see is the pitch clock. It came to Major League Baseball a couple of years ago, has been a big boon, and Nebraska prep baseball talent is darn near elite, right? No, there's maybe not the depth of prospects in a California, a Texas, a Florida, even Nevada, warm weather states, Arizona come to mind. But Nebraska prep baseball talent has been really good for a long time. I think is starting to get some of the respect it deserves. So if Nebraska wants to continue to push players to the Division I college ranks, if Nebraska wants to continue to have guys get a look even out of high school in the MLB draft, I think a pitch clock is next to come. I would love to see Nebraska be on the forefront of integrating a pitch clock, which you can do at least at Werner Park at the very least, because they have that little scoreboard, right, for the Storm Chasers games. The pitch clock is there. Just got to have someone to operate it. When it comes to wireless headset communication, that is always the risk that an earpiece gets left around. Someone picks it up, that someone manages to, I don't say hack into the frequency. That makes it sound a lot more high tech than I think it is, but, tap into it, just bring a little radio and scroll through till you hit it. Or, there's a radio app on your phone that I'm sure you can find it on. And some of that is preventable, right? There, with a higher level of investment, maybe you can get, an encrypted channel or 2 encrypted channels to go back and forth with. Because I don't quote me on this, but actually, let me just not even speak out of turn. Let me ask, is this wireless headset communication provided by the NSAA, or is it on a school-by-school basis? Because if it's provided by the NSAA, what I would do would be to just keep 2, maybe 3 earpieces in each dugout for these state tournament games. Obviously, have an official standing by at the start and the end of the game. Make sure that all of them are there, all of them are functional, And probably most importantly, that all of them are returned at the end of the game, because I'd like to think that the NSAA could, use some resources and set up a couple of encrypted channels, right? Where the general public can't tap into it. But there's a story, I don't know if it's apocryphal or legitimate, that in a Northwestern football game, back when Pat Fitzgerald was the head coach, I think it was one of his assistants started to hear the calls and the discussion between the opposing coaches. So instead of keeping that headset running, Pat Fitzgerald, had his assistant turn that headset off, not just use it, but turn it off and run down to the opposing coach's box and say, hey, you guys might want to look into this. We're catching your signals. This is where I love teams looking for a competitive advantage, right? I love the teams that are better able to adapt to this new method of communication and pitch calling might have a leg up. They're more comfortable with it. It's less of an adjustment for them. But it's also where you hope that parents aren't springing up and getting in the way, right? I know that youth baseball parents don't always have the best rap. Football is what it is on the 7-on-7 scene. AAU basketball parents are what they are. But I feel like for the longest time, the group of parents that have gotten the worst rap are the travel baseball parents, which eventually turn into, for the most part, high school baseball parents. There's a very fine line between it's just a game and find every advantage you can to win. This is the state tournament. Some careers are made here. Some careers are broken here. It's the reality of the situation. Even though, quote unquote, just Nebraska State baseball, it still means a lot. It's a state championship. That's a big deal. That's a name in a record book. That's a name in a history book. Those are memories for a lifetime. So it's more than, oh, it's just a game. But at the same time, is it really so serious that if there is an adult in the crowd working hard to find the right radio signal to relay and whistle in the signs to the team, we have to be better than that. We have to be better than that, just as a sports watching society. If we cannot use technology with a modicum of respect, if we are going to disrespect the game in year one, we don't deserve state baseball. And that would suck. That would suck. State baseball is awesome. I haven't been to a whole lot of it in my life. I really appreciate Nick letting me hop in the booth with him. I had a blast calling games. We appreciate you ticket listeners for listening to the games, still showing interest in keeping up on it. We appreciate our sponsors sending us out to these games, giving us the opportunity to call these games. At some point, the adults have to be adults. They have to take that step back themselves. The NSAA cannot legislate parents out of the game, right? At some point, if you're going to try that hard to work around the rules, to get the edge by, I'm going to be that sneaky parent who, I'm just cheering for my kid, I'm just whistling. Well, number one, that takes probably a lot more planning and a lot more work and hassle than it's worth, right? And then you have to tell your kid, and then your kid has to tell the rest of the team, and either you have to get it approved by the coach or you have to find a way to get around the coach. Because I would hope that the coaches, if they heard this going on, would themselves have enough integrity to say, even if we have this advantage, we're not going to use it because that is against, obviously, the letter of the law. Like Drew said, it's straight up cheating. It is, right? If we're going to get mad at the Astros for banging on trash cans, we need to get mad at, again, if this is true, which I cannot confirm, if there is cheating going on in terms of, finding the radio signal and whistling down, that's a problem. That's cheating. It needs to be stopped. But there's only so much the NSAA can do, right? Are you going to have an NSAA official monitoring every section? Will they even know what to look for if you think that's a tenable situation? No. At some point, you have to trust the adults in the room to be the adults in the room. I know DP loves to say that. And if you are the adult in the room, be better if you're doing this. That's my plea to you. Don't ruin this for the rest of us, right? You're not just ruining it for the opponent in your kid's game or in your school's game. If if this is happening, if there's whistling going on after being tapped into the radio broadcast for earpiece communication, you are not just ruining it for your opponent. Because if this gets found out, the easiest, simplest thing for the NSAA to do is say, to prevent this problem from happening again, we're getting rid of the communication, which would set Nebraska prep baseball back. Because then, maybe it's just a small advantage, but this technology is proliferating. It's becoming more and more common across the country. Obviously, we know it's at Major League Baseball, and they're experimenting with the little wristbands, the pitch comms, and there's the earpiece communication. I think it's made its way to the college ranks. So if Nebraska can be on the forefront of wearing the earpieces, of getting that communication from the coach to the catcher, putting the sign down for the catcher to the pitcher, don't mess that up for Nebraska prep baseball. It's something the state can hang its hat on. I promise you. I promise you. If this is going on and it gets found out who this person is, they deserve to be a pariah. Do not ruin Nebraska state baseball for everyone else just because you want to see your kid win a state championship. There are better ways to do it. There are more honest ways to do it. No doubt about it. That came from, who was that text? I think it was Jesse that texted that in. Yeah, Jesse. Jesse the plumber. I appreciate you texting that in. Appreciate your appreciation of us doing the games. No games tomorrow. We just had the one game today as Lincoln East beat Millard South to move on to the state title game. But we will have the Class A and Class B state championship games on Friday. Drew and Wahoo raises a point as well. It's usually never the kids. Parents, honestly, adults are usually the problem in most of these situations in high school athletics. Ain't that the truth? I don't know what it is, but Drew, you are spot on with that. We'll take a break. We're about halfway through Old School, just a 1 hour show with Pro Volleyball Federation semifinals tonight. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Austin Oerman. Back after this short break.
You're listening to Old School with DP and J. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hi, it's Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and it's truck month at Koppel, and we want to sell them all. Choose between 0.9% APR or as much as $8,000 off list price. Yes, you heard right. That's 0.9% APR or as much as $8,000 off list on select new GMC and Chevrolet inventory. So please make that money-saving drive to Koppel in Louisville or check us out online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did. All deals with approved credit must trade and finance.
Okay, it's time to sell the house. How do we even begin to choose from the hundreds of realtors in town?
Easy. We make a pros list.
You mean a pros and cons list?
No, just a pros list. We need someone with pro photography to showcase the house in the best possible way, pro marketing to make sure we get maximum exposure, pro negotiations so we know we get the best price.
This is one of those times where you already know the right answer, isn't it?
You know it is. Ben Bleicher and Professional Realty Group.
Contact Ben Bleicher and the team at Professional Realty Group of Berkshire Hathaway's Home Services Ambassador. Online at prg-ne.com.
Looking for a job that feels like family? Join Lincoln Industries, where tradition meets innovation. They're a family-owned, privately held manufacturing company with a passion for excellence and a commitment to their community. They have openings on all shifts at both the main plant and Air Park facilities, offering flexibility to fit your schedule. Whether you're a seasoned professional or just starting out, there's a place for you there. At Lincoln Industries, they invest in their people's success, providing opportunities for growth and advancement. Apply now and become a part of something special at Lincoln Industries.
Does it seem like your clothes dryer doesn't dry like it used to? It may not be your dryer. It may be your dryer vent. When the vent becomes obstructed, it drastically reduces the efficiency of your dryer. Even worse, it can be a fire hazard. Here's the simple solution. Call Bryant. Bryant will thoroughly clean the vent and show you the before and after results. Call 467-1111. Keep your dryer operating efficiently and your home safe. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. We do whatever it takes.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
The Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see a chance of showers and thunderstorms throughout the day with a high around 73. Tonight, showers and storms continuing, the low around 53. And tomorrow, we'll see a slight chance of showers and storms. Otherwise, mainly sunny skies with an afternoon high around 78. Meteorologist Kyle Tucker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
School tells you all about the four seasons: spring, summer,
and so on. And then there's a way we really tell what time of year it is. Sports seasons, football season, baseball season, or even off season. Well, what's the chocolate season? Well, it's now, of course. And now, and always. Whether you're looking for a caffeinated pick-me-up on the way to work, a little snack on the way home, or you need the perfect gift that's sure to be appreciated. It's time for the chocolate season, y'all. 40th and Old Cheney, or order ahead at thechocolatseason.com. See you there.
Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in, temperature-controlled, high-end wine room. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for spirits and cigars. Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
When we're looking out for a homeowner, we're always keeping their budget in mind. We try to maximize things that are important to them.
Bob Benish is the founder and president of Aspen Builders, online at aspenbuildersinc.com.
So we really try to maximize the size because 5 years from now, you can't just make your house bigger. The one thing I can tell you is that most builders in Lincoln, we all are about the same price. The difference comes in the products that we put in and the way we put in those products.
The old saying, you get what you pay for, is pretty accurate when you're building a home. If you put nicer windows in and you put nicer cabinets, it's going to cost a little bit more. You know, if those things are important to you, then you want to do it. We can try to incorporate in your floor plan and get a house that you're going to be happy with.
Make your dream home a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
By now, most of you know how important the Honda of Lincoln sales and service team are to the Lincoln market. Hello, Charlie Stone here, and joining me is Andy Goodyear from Honda of Lincoln to tell you about the great news they just received. Andy, please tell us all about it.
Each year, the Lincoln Journal-Star has an award program called the Lincoln Choice Award, where the customers in Lincoln get to choose the best places to do business. Great pleasure, I get to announce that Honda of Lincoln has won the award for buying new cars, used cars, automotive repair, and even oil changes.
That is amazing, Andy. Any more good news?
Yes, there is, Charlie. We now have more than 100 new Hondas in stock, with hundreds on the way, and a huge selection of all makes and models on our pre-owned lot.
Incredible. Maybe it's time you come experience the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business. 27th and Yankee Hill Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
What's better than beautiful jewelry from Sartor Heyman? How about 60% off Sartor Heyman jewelry? 2 days only at the outlet by Sartor Heyman. For 2 days only, everything in the outlet store is 60% off. Friday, May 17th and Saturday, May 18th only, all jewelry is 60% off. Get in early for best selection. When it's gone, it's gone. The Outlet by Sartor Heyman, 12th and O, downtown Lincoln only. Go to sartorheyman.com for details.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
The postseason is here in the Pro Volleyball Federation. The Atlanta Vibe enters the 1 seed, and they'll face off against the 4th-seeded Grand Rapids Rise, followed by the 2-seed Omaha Supernovas versus the 3rd-seeded San Diego Mojo. Both matches on Wednesday, May 15th. The Mullen Motors pregame show with Derek Pearson and Renee Saunders starts at 5 p.m. with first serve at 6 for Game 1, with the second match to start around 8:30 p.m. Make sure to tune in for the next Ag Appraisal and Realty postgame show right after the match ends. Catch all the action on your flagship station, 93.7 The Ticket, and statewide on the Pro Volleyball Federation Radio Network.
Back to old school with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Half an hour to go here on Old School, but brought to you by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. I'm Austin Oerman. Let's go back to the text line here. Interesting discussion brought up by Jesse the Plumber. 1627 has a follow-up to that, slightly different tack, though. So this is from the state softball tournament, 1627. It says they witnessed it. So it says there's a parent yelling and swearing at a kid after the game for striking out. Another kid comes over and stands up for the player. I presume that's a teammate. The parent tells that kid that's sticking up for their teammate to shut up and butt out. 1627 says nothing happened to that parent except embarrassment, even though many think that parent should have been banned from the state tournament. What's my opinion on that? Bad look, horrible look, probably unnecessary. Like, I struggle to think of a situation where not only yelling and swearing at your own kid for a strikeout is unnecessary, but telling another kid in harsher words to be quiet and leave. Yeah, there's basically no situation that's worth it in. To be completely fair, I don't know the pre-existing relationship between this non-child and this other parent. I don't know the situations that went into the strikeout, but I can about guarantee you it didn't deserve for the player to be yelled at and swore at. But then you get to the question of, should that parent have been banned from the state tournament? I don't know. My initial reaction is that it's a horrible look, that it should never happen, but that it's really hard for me to want to ban a parent from their kid's game. Even if this is the relationship, even if that's the way it goes. I don't know if that is an NSAA decision. I don't know if that is a school-by-school decision, right? If an athletic director had witnessed this happen, could they, take a picture of the parent and give it to the people at the gate taking tickets and say, hey, we don't want this person allowed back in if they have a problem with it? I'll talk to the parent. But as bad as that is, I think it's got to be a multiple strike policy. And it's also different if it happened after the game, right? If there's a parent that's causing a scene during the game, if their kid strikes out and they walk back to the dugout and the parent is berating them from there, or the parent gets out of the stands to walk over to the dugout and is yelling and swearing at their kid, their player, that's where I think the umpires can step in and say, hey, that's an unruly fan. That's not promoting the rules of sportsmanship that are very clearly laid out in any NSA program and are gone over before every state tournament. If it happened in those 7 innings, it's umpire's purview. The fact that it happened after the game, it's hard for me to want to ban a parent from any subsequent games or in that season or even the next year, because it just seems so outside of NSAA purview. 8438 said somewhere between banning them and not ignoring it. Maybe things don't need to be so extreme. Yeah, there's probably a middle ground. That's a good point, 8438. But who is it that handles that middle ground? This parent was apparently on one, right? With an agenda, with something to say, clearly did not choose the right venue, the right approach for this conversation. Sounds like it was pretty one-sided as well. But is that for the athletic director to handle? Is that for the NSAA site supervisor to handle? Something like that, I think, needs to be addressed at home first, right? I don't know the household situation, whether it was a mom or a dad. It might be hard for the kid to talk to their parent after something like that, at least for a while. But if there's a spouse or a significant other in the picture, I think they're the people that have to address that first. And I know for some, it's going to be, well, that's not enough, right? What's that person going to do to stop it from happening the next time? But that's where I think 8438's point comes into play. Even though it doesn't excuse what happened. Maybe there's something to be said for this parent had a bad day. It was out of character. Something built up to this. They snapped. They know they snapped. They couldn't control themselves in the moment. It was out of character, and it's never going to happen again. It was a first offense, and, you hate to say that's that, because that's a lasting impression that young athlete will never forget. But I don't think something like that rises to the level of the NSAA needing to take action. Now, if it's the same parent doing the same thing twice in a week, okay, that's where maybe an athletic director steps in and says, hey, we saw this happen once. I caught you today. If it happens one more time, you're not allowed back into games for a month. If it happens after that, you're done attending any of our sporting events for the year. And then the major third strike would be you're done, right? You are not allowed to set foot in our gym, on our field, because of your pattern of behavior. So it would have to be extremely drastic, extremely venomous, and happen during the course of play for me to say the NSAA should get involved. So I think it would be a spouse or a significant other that needs to address it with this parent first and say, you made a fool of yourself. You embarrassed yourself. You embarrassed your kid. And it really doesn't mean that much, not to the degree that you took it. Again, not saying the game's not meaningful, not saying, oh, it's just a game play for fun. But come on, if we've picked up a bat in a bat and ball sport, we've struck out. Maybe you struck out with the bases loaded, your team down by 1 and 2 outs, and that's the end of the game in the state championship. Still doesn't bring a kid to be yelled at or cursed at for that. It's unfortunate. I'd hope any, decent, self-respecting parent would love their kid first, would hug them, would give them a day to decompress about it, and get out of their feelings about it, and then get back to work, right? But the yelling, the screaming, the cursing, that only stands to discourage a student athlete. Even if they're motivated by being yelled at, even if that fires them up in front of everyone, getting undressed, getting yelled at like that, it doesn't benefit absolutely anyone. 0694, why not have the coach of the team talk with the parent? Parent-coach relationships are tricky. Incredibly tricky. Especially if this parent is mad about, say, the player striking out. Would the parent also be mad at the coach for putting his player in a bad situation? Would the parent blame the coach for not coaching better? Oh, I could do better. If you let me work with my kid, if you hired me as an assistant, they wouldn't have struck out there. We know about all the discussions about playing time that come up between players and coaches, or coaches and parents. Not sure that's always the way to handle it. So I get where you're coming from. I just think there's just there's kind of a stigma around those coach-parent conversations. I don't think needs to be there, but in this situation, I would almost go to the athletic director first. Mark from Cook, I would worry about what other stuff is going on. Yeah, more than fair. And Axel Foley, I would think that kid needs a hug instead of yelling. Amen to that. We'll take a break. We'll wrap up our short hour of Old School after this, just about 15 minutes away from sending you out to the CHI Health Center in Omaha. I'm Austin Oerman. Don't go anywhere. More Old School after this.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Load up on meat and more this spring at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese at 84th and Havelock. This week's special through May 21st is the revealing of the Mystery Box promotion, a $225 value for only $99. That includes 3 8-ounce fillets, 2 4-ounce fillets, 4 New York strips, and 4 8-ounce sirloins. Also 15% off all spices. Locations at 84th and Havelock and 30th and Yankee Hill in Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Your sprinklers are watering the street or flooding your backyard. If you're on a list that doesn't exist, it's time for Judson Irrigation. At Judson Irrigation, Lee or Lacey or Judson will make an appointment. You pick the time and they'll be there to fix your sprinkler system. Now that's service, a dying art these days.
Keep summer green.
Call Judson Irrigation 402-420-6277 or judsonirrigation.com.
If you've been putting off your health, what are you waiting for? The Summer 10-Week Challenge at Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping is exactly what you need to kickstart your wellness. Farrell's gives you all the tools, coaching, support, and accountability you need to be successful. The 10-Week Challenge begins on June 8th, and monthly payments are now available. Head to fxblincoln.com for all the details. Stop taking your health for granted and get started with Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping.
Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in, temperature-controlled, high-end wine room. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for spirits and cigars: Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
NEPCO is hiring CDL drivers for Ready Mixed Concrete, Husker Concrete, and Beatrice Concrete. NEPCO offers great pay, medical and retirement benefits, paid time off, and they pay for CDL training. Apply today and start your new career with a $2,500 hiring bonus. From NEPCO's beginning in 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's NEBCOINC.com.
Tune in every Wednesday night from 9 to 10 p.m. for the Malone Radio Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Don't miss the opportunity to learn about the Malone Community Center's goal to eliminate multi-generational poverty in Lincoln and the surrounding area. It's the Malone Radio Show with Executive Director John Goodwin and Sports Director Mike Hunter every Wednesday night from 9 to 10 p.m. on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Be sure to check out the top-selling Recomp. Recomp helps build lean muscle and strength while decreasing body fat. Recomp is ideal for men and women of all ages trying to look their best. Recomp can only be found in Nutrition Authority. For info, visit mynutritionauthority.com.
The end of the school year is drawing near, which means graduation parties are coming soon. Are you prepared for that if you're hosting? Fierce Cheese Spread is the dip that brings everyone together to celebrate graduations and to close out a great school year. And it goes well with crackers, meats, soups, and more. How could you throw a party without it? Get to your local grocery store today and load up on Fierce Cheese Spread. No graduation party is complete without it.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock, A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. Spring is here, summer is fast approaching. With weddings, vacations, and weekend getaways on your mind, do not let car issues prevent you from getting where you need to be. Car problems shouldn't be something that you put up with. Let us get you back on the road in comfort and safety. We diagnose all makes and models from Porsches to Hondas, Toyotas, and Chevrolets. We fix a variety of issues with all of them with our talented techs and our experienced staff. A1 Automotive at 11th and L, downtown Lincoln, always honest answers.
Be a memory for your grandchildren. Among Nebraska adults age 65 or older, 47% report current alcohol use. Drinking too much can cause harm to children, family members, and loved ones. By drinking less, you will still be around for your grandchildren. If you or a loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
What's better than beautiful jewelry from Sartor Heyman? How about 60% off Sartor Heyman jewelry? 2 days only at the outlet by Sartor Heyman. For 2 days only, everything in the outlet store is 60% off. Friday, May 17th and Saturday, May 18th only, all jewelry is 60% off. Get in early for best selection. When it's gone, it's gone. The Outlet by Sartor Heyman, 12th and O, downtown Lincoln only. Go to sartorheyman.com for details.
Back to old school with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Man, this hour's flown by. Text line, really appreciate you guys and your thoughts. Jesse the Plumber, you got us started off. A lot of other people have chimed in here. And a few comments to get to before we send you out to the CHI Health Center in Omaha. We'll start with Virginia Pirate. The parents and players are ultimately representing their school at an NSAA event, so the school, if they actually care, should step in regardless. Agree there. If the NSAA didn't like it, I think they absolutely have the right to step in. Slight pushback. If it happens during the NSAA-sanctioned event, it causes a disruption there, yes. But I'm a big fan of litigating and problem-solving at the most localized level possible, right? It's why you have, your civil cases here in, just the county or city court. That's why you then appeal to the state legislature if you don't get the result you want. And then after that, if you still don't have resolution, what you do is you appeal to the Supreme Court, right? In this situation, to me, handling it at home would be just going to regular old plain Jane court with a spouse, significant other. The state legislature, such as it is, to me, would be at the school level, whether it's the coach or the athletic director. And then if the NSAA has to step in, that to me is a Supreme Court ruling. If you can avoid it, right? Handle it as locally as possible because those relationships are already built, already there. I think there's the best chance for understanding it at that level. Money G in Kansas. This is the AD's job to step in and deal with. It's hard for ADs to do, especially in smaller communities where a lot of these parents may be popular or influential figures in the community, although this is where the AD needs to step up and do their jobs. That is the money sentence to me. It might be difficult, right? ADs probably aren't paid enough in a lot of situations, and it's hard to stand up to influential people in the community, especially if you rely on them for advertising and funding and support. But you're in a position of power. As the athletic director to direct athletics, your job is to stick up for your student athletes at your school. It might be difficult. It probably will be difficult. But I promise you in the long run, it's the right decision, especially if no one has stood up to this person before. Money G also says, unfortunately, I have a feeling it might not have been the first incident with this parent during the year. You're probably right. It's not an umpire responsibility, not outside of the game, but if it's interrupting the game, then I think it is. Gary, last comment of the day. I coach baseball. I don't know what exactly took place, but having coached for 19 years, during our coaches meeting, we're told that we're responsible for our parents' actions. So every year at the beginning of the season, during the parent meeting, I go over the expectations with the parents. So if something like that happens, I would address it with the parents. Gary, appreciate the thoughts. I think that's a good way to handle it. Whether it's a coach or an AD handling it, I think the smaller of a deal you can make this into, right, to make an example out of a parent if there was legitimately no reason for it, to get to the bottom of it, figure out what exactly happened. I think it's going to be easier with pre-existing relationships rather than someone from the NSAA coming in from the outside. 3994, we got a couple stories that happened, one from state softball, one from state baseball. Don't know exactly, I can't speak to them or verify them, but it was a fun, interesting thought experiment to talk through and tease out as we are onto the state championship games. We'll have those for you on Friday. But hey, coming up next, Pro Volleyball Federation. Rico, Coach Renee Saunders, DP on the call eventually. Don't go anywhere. We'll step aside, throw it to break when you return. You're at the CHI Health Center in Omaha. Let Rico, Coach Saunders set the stage for DP and yourself. You have Atlanta and Grand Rapids. First of the nightcap, Omaha, your Supernovas in the San Diego Mojo. For Strick, I'm Austin. This has been the 1 hour of On the Block brought to you by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Pro Volleyball Federation semifinals next on 93.7 The Ticket.
Does it seem like your clothes dryer doesn't dry like it used to? It may not be your dryer. It may be your dryer vent. When the vent becomes obstructed, it drastically reduces the efficiency of your dryer. Even worse, it can be a fire hazard. Here's the simple solution. Call Bryant. Bryant will thoroughly clean the vent and show you the before and after results. Call 467-1111. Keep your dryer operating efficiently and your home safe. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. We do whatever it takes.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery,